60 milligrams to 10. He still needs opioids, he just doesn't need as much. Marijuana gives patients a substitution for opioids. We've seen in study after study, when medical marijuana laws go into effect, the opioid prescription rate drops. People substitute marijuana for opioids. In fact, American Medical Association found states with medical marijuana dispensaries saw 3.7 million fewer daily doses of prescription opioids. Less opioid pills. Reduces opioid death. In medical marijuana states, overdose mortality rates 25% lower than states without medical marijuana. 23% reduction in opioid dependence. 15% fewer opioid treatment admissions. 64% reduction in prescription opioid use. So in Idaho, it should be known, we have an opioid prescription rate of 61.9 prescriptions per 100 people. 61.9. The US average is 50.7. The average in Oregon is, I think it's at 50.9. It's slightly higher than the national average, but real close. And Washington's is below the national average. So if you want to get Idaho off the opioids, give Idahoans a safer alternative to use instead of the opioids. The other thing that we hear from our opponents a lot is, oh my God, we're going to turn out like Denver, we're going to turn out like Portland or Seattle. So I provided them a fact sheet on marijuana and the West. First of all, they talk about marijuana being a gateway drug. Oh my God, we don't want to have legal marijuana because then everybody's going to use heroin. So the problem with the gateway drug argument is that they go and they talk to heroin users and then they ask them if they ever used marijuana. That's the backwards way to ask. Go ask a bunch of marijuana users, how many of you use heroin? And I'll tell you how many, it's 1 out of 108. So if it's a gateway, it's a tiny, skinny little gateway that only 1 out of 108 people go through. In fact, the gateway drug has been scientifically studied. This whole theory has been studied. It was debunked in 1999 by the Institutes of Medicine that said, quote, there is no conclusive evidence that the drug effects of marijuana are causally linked to the subsequent abuse of other illicit drugs. And in fact, for a lot of people who are hooked on heroin, it's an exit drug. Lori and I have a very good friend who is addicted to heroin. And to get off his heroin addiction, doctors put him on methadone. He was so fogged up on methadone that he was a zombie. Like, he didn't talk, he was just all sullen.
If you guys can hear okay, can you give me...
Lori put him on full extract cannabis oil and helped wean him off of that methadone. Took 6 months. We got him completely off methadone, and he's a whole new person, a changed man. He's bright and happy and energetic. We saved a life from opioids.
So no, you can't hear
Another
me.
thing they'll scare you about. Oh no, if we legalize, be stoned mayhem on the freeways. Everybody's going to drive stoned and get into wrecks. Well, first of all, if marijuana caused a lot of wrecks, don't you think there'd be a pileup after a Willie Nelson concert? Like, wouldn't every Snoop Dogg concert just be wrecks galore? No, I mean, they have parking lots at reggae shows and everybody drives away just fine, right? In fact, when we look at the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the statistics for fatalities per 100 million miles driven, Idaho is a more dangerous state to drive in than Washington or Oregon is. You're more likely to die on the road driving in Idaho than either of those two legal marijuana states. And the reason is because we've done a lot of studies on this too. Marijuana is not the driving risk they make it out to be. Now, I will give you a caveat. If you do bong rips galore and get yourself completely baked and immediately get behind the wheel, that's a bad thing to do. Don't do that, you're impaired.
I'll back up.
However, when we look at the overall statistics and we control for alcohol use, age, and gender, the crash risk of people that use marijuana is no greater than the crash risk of people who don't. Now, where they originally got these stats for saying that marijuana is twice as likely to cause a crash is because they didn't control for age and gender. Guess who smokes the most marijuana? Young men. Guess who gets in the most wrecks? Young men. So once you control the young men factor and you just figure it out statistically, There's no greater risk from marijuana drivers. Another thing they like to say, oh, the kids. What about the children? If we legalize marijuana, the kids will use marijuana. They don't. The teen marijuana use rates in the states that have legalized have stayed steady. And think about it. Why would it go up? What about creating a store for adults changes the dealer behind shop class after fifth period? Nothing. Teens already have their access. Creating a place for adults to get it does not make it easier for teens to get it. Besides, there was a cartoon when Oregon legalized. I thought it was kind of telling. When Oregon legalized in 2014, there's this cartoon. It's got a mom and a dad. The dad's got a pot leaf shirt on and the mom's got a tie-dye. There's two little kids sitting there and dad says, well, now that it's legal, your mom and I are going to go to the store and get us some Maui Wowie. And the thought bubble above the two kids' heads is, oh, geez, pot is so lame. And it is kind of like, now that it's an adult thing, it's no more interesting to kids than mom's Chardonnay. Like, it's an adult thing. We don't care about that. Kids don't even care that much. We also hear about, oh, we'll turn out like Denver or Portland or Seattle. Okay, how about we turn out like Scottsdale, Arizona, or Bangor, Maine, or Springfield, Massachusetts. They always want to compare us to these big, liberal, hyper-populated cities that we're nothing like. Crime will go up. I referred to this on the Kevin Miller show today. 2012, the crime rate in, the overall crime rate in Colorado was 10 points higher in 2012 than it is today. So crime has not gone up in legal states. Oh, the kids, the high school, they'll drop out of school. The kids will smoke the marijuana, they'll drop out of school. You know what the high school dropout rate is in Idaho? 80%. You know what it is in Oregon? I'm sorry, high school graduation rate, excuse me. How many of them graduate? 80% in Idaho, 80% in Oregon, 80% in Washington, 82% in California, 84% in Colorado. So it's not causing the kids to drop out of school. And so this is some of the facts that we try to get out to these legislators to let them know that they're ridiculous. they're living on reefer madness. And the rest of the country knows this. This is a look at every opinion poll ever taken in the United States on marijuana legalization. Literally, from 1969, when only 12% of America supported legalization, to today, where 69% of the people support legalization. Here is 2012. So after legalization, as more and more states legalize, it just keeps getting more and more popular. You'd think if it was this terrible thing that was causing crashes and high school dropouts and heroin addiction, that this would go down, wouldn't it? But it's not. All right, so let me wrap this up here with one last thing about danger. One of the reasons we're given sometimes for marijuana to be illegal is because how dangerous it is, all the dangers it could cause. Now, I lived in Oregon for a while, and I like Oregon. I like a lot of things about Oregon, but one of the things I prefer about Idaho is we like freedom in Idaho. Idaho's all about freedom. You want to do what you want to do, have fun, don't hurt nobody else. So I got to thinking, what kind of dangerous, illegal things are there to do in Idaho? Like, what could be considered so dangerous we just can't let people do it? Well, I'm thinking, if you strapped a rubber band on your feet and jumped off the Twin Falls Canyon Bridge, bungee jumping, that's dangerous, isn't it? But Idaho will let you do that. That's not illegal. You can do that, sure, no problem. You can jump off a bridge, go have fun. Okay, well, what else could be? Oh, I know. Tobacco. Everybody hates tobacco. Tobacco's awful. Tobacco's dangerous. Tobacco's addictive and dangerous. We can't let kids smoke tobacco. We can't let teenagers smoke tobacco. The rest of the country's raising the tobacco age to 21. We better do that. Not Idaho. Idaho's like 18 years old. You want to smoke tobacco? Fine, no problem. Go ahead. Light it up. Okay. Well, what about indoors? Inside, secondhand smoke, secondhand tobacco smoke. That's dangerous. States all over the country, they're making it illegal to smoke in a bar because the secondhand smoke is so dangerous. Not Idaho. You want to smoke in a bar? Have at it. All right, well, I better think of something more dangerous. Let me think. Oh, I know. What if we let just anybody who's not a felon, just any old adult, could go to a store and buy a gun and carry it concealed on them in a church or a school or anywhere they want to go? They can carry a gun. They don't have to have a license. They don't have to have training. They don't have oversight. That's dangerous, isn't it? Well, not in Idaho. You can do that in Idaho. We believe in freedom in Idaho. We got freedom. You can concealed carry. Go right ahead. That's not dangerous. All right, well, I better think harder. How about, I know, driving 80 miles an hour? That's dangerous. 80 miles an hour, that's awfully fast. You wreck at 80 miles an hour, you're gonna die. We better make that illegal. But not in Idaho. Hell, you want to drive 80 miles an hour on the freeway outside Ontario? Have at it, no problem. Oh, I know. If you were driving 80 miles an hour on your motorcycle and you weren't wearing a helmet, oh my God, that's dangerous. That is so dangerous. If you wrecked on your motorcycle without a helmet, you'd die. We better make that illegal. Not in Idaho. You want to break your brains all over the freeway? Go right ahead. Perfectly legal. We believe in freedom here. I know. Did you know in Idaho it's illegal to shoot off aerial fireworks? You know, aerial fireworks like the Roman candles and stuff like that, those are illegal because they're dangerous, right? You could catch fire somewhere. It's terribly dangerous. But if you want to buy them, that's legal in Idaho. You can actually go to stores and buy illegal fireworks as long as you sign a note saying you promise you won't shoot them off in Idaho. Because why? We believe in freedom. All right, here's my last try. We've been seeing a lot of mass shootings lately. Guys going around with AR-15s, big old magazines, shooting up a whole crowd of people. Gosh, that's dangerous. That's terribly dangerous. We got to make a law against that. Not in Idaho. Hell, in Idaho, you can have not only an AR-15, you can have a 100-round barrel magazine on an AR-15, and you can take it right into the state capitol. You can walk into the state capitol with a loaded battlefield rifle. Because why? We believe in freedom, right? But medical marijuana? That's too dangerous. That's too dangerous. The cancer patient who needs to take a tincture so they can get some appetite after chemo. No, you ought to just go bungee jumping instead. The epilepsy kid who has seizures, hundreds of seizures a day. We can't give him CBD oil because that's too dangerous in Idaho. But if he wants to smoke cigarettes at age 18, that's fine. Do you get where I'm coming from? How anybody can look at this list and think, these things are freedom, but that one's too dangerous, isn't a serious person in my mind. Not quite yet. Let me finish this up. So, this leads me to my final bit.
30 total people, somewhere in there, 30, 35.
We've been talking all day about medical marijuana. And I want to emphasize that the Medical Marijuana Act is currently gathering signatures. They're right over there. We're petitioning. We're going to get this on the ballot. We're going to pass it. But guess what? Medical marijuana won't help me. I'm not sick. Well, I'm kind of sick, but not in that way. I'm radical, that's why. But so while the Medical Marijuana Act is being proposed right now, I have some breaking news for you. First people to hear it. By the end of this week, we will be dropping 2 more initiatives, one for marijuana decriminalization and one for marijuana legalization. Now, I'll be honest, it's a long shot. Because these are later, these are after SB 1110, so we're going to have to go to all 35 districts, and who knows if we can accomplish that. But we figure, let's put something in and have it ready to go, so that if SB 1110 goes to court and they throw it out, we'll have something ready to go to start collecting signatures for decrim and legalization. And the 2 decrims and legalizations, these 2 bills are called Pamela and Pamela. Here's the difference. Pamela is the Personal Adult Marijuana Expungement and Legalization Act. It would do 3 things. 1, possess 3 ounces of marijuana. 2, grow 4 plants. 3, clear your old criminal record if you had done those things in the past and got caught. That's what Pamela will do. What Pamela will not do is create any marijuana stores in Idaho. Now, before you boo me, there's a thought behind this. Under the Idaho law now, when you put in an initiative, they have a thing called a single subject rule, which says you may only address one subject. Like you can't have the legalize puppies and make kittens illegal act. You can either legalize puppies or you can make kittens illegal. You can't do both, right? It has to be separate acts, right? So we're not sure if we put stores and grows in, if that might be a separate subject than just having it legal for people to possess. And this has actually happened in Nebraska. They had a medical marijuana initiative on the ballot last time in Nebraska, and the Supreme Court of Nebraska took it off the ballot because it violated a single subject rule because it had possession and it had sales. So we're not going to put sales in, and there's another reason why. Our opponents keep saying, oh, this is big money out of state interest. Big money just wants to come in here. Big money wants to set up stores, and big money wants to make profit, and big money wants to make money. So we're not going to bring big money. We're just going to legalize what you're already doing. You're going to Ontario, you're coming back, and that'll be legal. Because we figure once it's legal, and they realize, hey, all our tax money keeps going out of state. Maybe we ought to set up some stores. We're going to make them come up with it. You guys come up with how the stores work. You guys come up with how the grows work. And if you don't, we'll just grow our own and sell it to each other. So that's the Pamela. But we have a Pamela, which is kind of Pamela light. All it would do is legalize 3 ounces. That's it. No grows, no expungement. And the reason we're doing that is because, again, that single subject rule, we don't know if expungement will be considered a second subject. So we want this one, but if they make this one invalid, we got a backup. So that's Pamela and Pamela. By the end of the week, we will start collecting signatures for this, and you will find us all over. We're having a global cannabis march on Saturday, May 1st, starting at Julia Davis Park. If you need some signs, I got sign materials right over there. You're welcome to make up a sign. We will have the Boise Hemp Fest in August. We'll be collecting signatures there as well. But let's be clear, our focus is primarily on the medical marijuana initiative because it's already collecting and it only has to get 18 districts. So if we can get signatures for this, great, but our main focus is medical marijuana. And with that, I think that's everything. I will be glad to take a question. Hello.
My name is Rebecca, and I have libertarian tendencies, so in principle, I support the legalization of marijuana. But in the last year, I have changed my mind, and that is because, now you yourself maligned this single subject requirement here in the state of Idaho. All right, we no longer live in a single subject society, do we? We're not in the middle of a single subject social civil war. So here's my issue and why I am now totally against the legalization in this state of marijuana. Because the very same people who support legalization of marijuana are the very same people who this past year have been all out for wearing masks all year, locking down our society, violating our constitutional freedoms. These are the very same people who want to get rid of our Constitution. And that is why we need to keep it illegal in this state.
All right, well, thank you for your time. Appreciate that. But I would say that none of those things have anything to do with medical marijuana or marijuana at all. Whether or not I think one way about one subject has nothing to do with whether or not the other subject is valid.
You listed all those freedoms, those dangerous things we're allowed to do in Idaho. You support those, you support the legalization of marijuana, but some of those same people were all pro for the China virus law.
Okay, that's enough. We're not going to be spouting racism on my stage.
That is not racism.
Yeah, for state house steps. No.
So this is something that they, guilt by association, that if one person believes one thing, they can't believe something or the other thing. But anyway, thank you for your participation. We appreciate the question. The signing is going on down there. Matt, could you give us a little music for a little bit here? Thank you. And yeah, do you have a question?
Yes, actually more of a statement.
Okay.
My name is Bobby. I was diagnosed with a brain tumor when I was 17. I've been living with it for 13 years. The only thing that has ever helped me is pot. And these guys are doing the right thing. I mean, they're doing God's work. So let's get it done.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so let's enjoy this 420. Let's keep things social and enjoyable, and we'll enjoy a little bit of music, and I'm going to wander around and talk to some of y'all. Thank you.
So for those that missed it, they're doing 2 new ballot initiatives. So the top initiative is the Idaho Medical Marijuana Act, and today the Idaho Citizens Coalition announced they were doing 2 additional marijuana initiatives that you can see there, Pamela and then Pamela, and that's kind of the difference there between the two. So they got a sign there regarding Senator Grow, but it's upside down. So this is Greg Pruitt with Idaho Dispatch. Just wanted to come. I was actually in the Capitol for another reason, and then heard the loudspeaker, so I thought I'd come and see what was going on here at the Capitol. So there's the bottom 2 additional initiatives that will be taking place. And then somewhere, I would say somewhere in the range of 35 or so people that showed up to listen to the speaker. And there's a table over there that they're doing signatures for the first initiative they did, which was the Idaho Medical Marijuana Act. A few new people have showed up here in just in the last few minutes. So anyway, all right, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to Idaho Dispatch at idahodispatch.com/subscribe. We'd love to have you as a supporter to help keep continued coverage of anything political that's going on down here at the Capitol in the future. Thank you and take care.